everyone, welcome back. We were discussing about positive organizational scholarship, and till now we have discussed about meaning, definition, organizational virtuousness and resilience. Today I will talk about another aspect of POS, that is meaning in work. Since we are talking about positive organizational scholarship, it actually denotes to all the different kind of positive deviances that can be experienced, that can be exhibited, that can be considered as disposition of positive patterns of behavior. But these positive deviances are only possible to experience when our cognition is actually very directional or the experiences are positive. So, organizations have taken an initiative to considering every employee as a human being and a social creature who has desire for not only for rewards and recognition, but every employee wants to search for some purpose, meaning, significance and flourishment in what he does in his professional or career life. Today I will talk of another kind of positive deviance, that is meaning in work. As the term implies, in a literal meaning we understand this term very well, that what kind of meaning every employee can perceive in his or her work. But it is beyond something that what we mean out of our job, but actually what we feel in terms of meaningfulness. Whether the work we are doing is only contributing to the financial benefits of the organization, or the work one is performing is contributing to the society, to the outer world and to oneself, that it is not only to satisfy the monetary aspects of the organization, but actually how it contributes to society at large and to oneself. So, let us define that what is meaning in work. So, it is actually an alternative source of motivation in work and becomes central to scholars, that how we can foster meaning in work through different kind of organizational practices. So, from a POS perspective or positive organizational perspective, this existence of meaning in work is a natural growth of organizational system. Initially all the HR policies, procedures, practices, systems were completely focused on performance, were completely focused on effectiveness of any organization and all the positive outcomes in terms of benefits and success of the organization. Now, positive organization scholarship in terms of meaning in work is considered as an outgrowth of any organizational system where employees are considered as human being and how they can thrive, they can flourish and contribute to the greater good, and celebration of human agency in the workplace to make improvements to the organization. So, since employees are agents to transfer knowledge, skills and abilities in every way to capture the market and to produce maximum profits out of that business or organization, then employees are also the human agents to make some improvement in the organization at social level, even at the psychological level to employees. So, according to Martella, meaningful work is that offers the worker positive significance in life, thus contributing to the fulfillment of the human needs for meaningfulness. It is not that any employee who is working in the organization is just focusing on food, shelter, clothing or social needs or esteem needs. It is how the person actualizes his own significance, that why I am doing this job, whether there is any purpose to perform this job, whether I am not only contributing to the organization, but to the society at large, how the policies and procedures are considering employee as human agents. So, when we are talking about contributing to the fulfillment of the human need for meaningfulness, means that it is beyond food, shelter and clothing, beyond rewards and recognition, what you feel after performing the job. It should not be that any employee as an individual is performing the job because it is a 9 to 5 job. No, after 9 to 5, how do you evolve as a human being at workplace in terms of pleasantness, in terms of joy, in terms of thriving, whether job is just a duty for you or it is a joy that you are performing the assigned role. So, according to Bailey, meaningful work is pleasant, enjoyable and personally enriching, as well as contributing to something beyond pure self interest. It should not be that to what extent only one person is focusing on a job to perform so that he or she can draw a monthly salary, but within that domain, how the person is enjoying performing a job, maybe the person is able to find a perfect fit in his interest and his job, and he is able to expand his knowledge. The more he is finding his job enriching, the more he is making an effort to enhance his knowledge, skills and abilities, so that he or she again can enjoy more and bring some positive results in terms of organizational outcomes and in terms of personal outcomes. So, that makes a job, a work as meaningful. According to Cheney et al., meaningful work that contributes to a personally significant purpose and can be differentiated from work that simply makes us feel good or work that enables us to express and hone our talents. That is how it is, that when we find a perfect fit between oneself and job, the employee tries to hone better skills to perform the job, so that his aim to contribute beyond performing a good job can be satisfied. When such kind of desire is satisfied, then we can say, or individual can say, that work is meaningful or there is some meaning in work. So, according to Seligman, meaningful work allows people to excel in promoting positive social and workplace relationships. Obviously, when there is joy, there is pleasure in performing a job. So, definitely an employee elicits positive moods, and there is a spiral process that when positive mood is there, we tend to emit positive responses, which has positive influence or impact on the co-workers, and again the reciprocation is positive. So, this actually leads to promote positive social and workplace relationships. Consequently, people are likely to find meaning by viewing their lives as significant, purposeful and understandable. When there is more positive exchanges, more understanding is there between employees or co-workers, which helps to generate more positivity in terms of cooperation, in terms of significance and in terms of purpose. According to Michelson and Steger, meaningful work can be defined as the meaning and significance of work to individuals, the meaning that is attached to work and psychological experiences lead to effective work outcomes. When the work is enjoyable and is full of pleasure, where a person is able to satisfy and develop more knowledge, skills and abilities, then definitely the psychological experiences are very positive, that this is what I wanted to do, this is what I have done, and this is how it has come out in terms of positive outcomes or positive organizational outcomes. So, according to Langridge, meaningful work is the ability of employees to find purposeful work that can potentially make an impact by using their talents in areas they are passionate about. Next comes constructs related to meaning in work. So, there are certain factors that have been identified by OB professionals, that on what basis or certain factors can contribute to perceive any work as meaningful. So, they have identified 4 factors: work centrality, work commitment, job involvement and intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. That means, when these factors are being perceived by an employee in the job, then the person develops an ability to perceive that job beyond these factors, because the person has more space and scope to identify and understand what a job can offer or how a person can offer through his job to the outer world. So, the first factor is work centrality. It is defined in terms of how relatively important work is in comparison with other domains of life like leisure and family. The more the work is perceived important and significant to a person, the more the person is focused on his job to perform effectively. It is not only about as a duty, but with all the interest and influence, the person tries to perform his job as a work in a very centralized manner. So, it is again a perception of an individual about his work. Other is work commitment. It is defined as the level of engagement employees feel toward their individual jobs and the organization. The more the person is immersed in his job to a larger extent, the more the person is committed to perform his job in a very symbiotic manner. Here symbiotic manner means that to what extent the person as an employee and the job are very well connected to each other. So, they are more committed to the job, they are more committed to the organization. So, this is work commitment. The other factor is job involvement. This refers to a state of psychological identification with work or the degree to which a job is central to person's identity. To what extent the job is very important to a person. The more that you perceive your job to be very important, the more we have attachment in performing that job. That is job involvement. We are more immersed that if I will perform this job with all my efforts, then I will gain some identity. Rather, actually when a person is attached to his job, he actually tries to perceive his job as a source of identity, that I am doing a piece of job which is very important to me, and the person is completely immersed in that job to perform. That is job involvement. It identifies a relative salience of work in life. That means to what extent work is of highest significance in an individual's life. The other is intrinsic motivations. This refers to factors such as opportunities for advancement, achievement and recognition, while more recent definitions have focused on interesting work, creativity and fulfillment. Extrinsic motivations refer to factors such as pay, working conditions and job security. It is about that how you perceive your job in terms of some tangible factors and intangible factors. Tangible factors, your pay, your work environment and job security. That will in the first instance will connect you or keep you grounded with your organization, that I am satisfied with my job in terms of pay, working conditions and job security. Once you are satisfied at this point, the intangible benefits can be in terms of that to what extent the job that has been assigned or role that has been assigned to you will give you more reward, recognition and advancement in your career, which can help you to be more creative and innovative. Once these factors are compiled all together in an individual's perception of the job, that is the hardcore job, and once there is positive perception about one's own job, then actually these factors when combined will give enough understanding to an employee that how that particular job is actually contributing to his own growth, that is personal growth, and to the growth of the organization. So, that perception of the job in itself can be reciprocating to the employee itself. You are perceiving the job satisfying and you are reciprocating to the job and to yourself in a very positive manner. So, this reciprocation to oneself is actually leading to perceive your job not only in terms of tangible or intangible benefits, but actually perceiving job to be more meaningful. So, these four factors, work centrality, work commitment, job involvement and intrinsic and extrinsic motivation contributes to construct further relatedness to work in terms of meaning. Now, there are different kind of perspectives to understand this concept. Every OB professional have identified that how work can become meaningful. But here we will consider one major concept given by Bella et al. In 1985, that how perceiving job with different perspectives can lead to understand or perceive a job in a very meaningful manner. So, according to Bella, there are three perspectives in the concept of meaning in work. That is an individual's discretion that you attach yourself to which kind of perspective. So, one perspective for meaning in work is people view work as a job. If any employee who thinks that only materialistic benefits adds meaning to the job, then it is their perspective. If any employee perceive their job only as a way of career orientation, then it is about occupational structure, pay, prestige, advancement. Only the tangible benefits that one receive while taking up a career throughout their lifetime. So, that is according to one's own perception of an employee. If career orientations are very dominating, then for them the job is meaningful. Now, if anybody who calls their job as calling, then the orientation is very advanced in form of that they do not work for financial rewards or advancement, but they do for the fulfillment that doing the work brings. That means that satisfaction they draw from performing a particular job, that is more meaningful, that is more calling, that I am ready to take up this job because that gives me immense satisfaction. So, it is a belief that work contributes to the greater good and makes the world a better place. In that case, salary hike, promotions, advancements and recognitions have no meaning. It is only to what extent you are contributing to the organization, to the society, that is more important. So, let us go little bit more into detail about these perspectives. So, the first perspective is people view work as a job. That means focusing on the material benefits of work to the relative exclusion of other kinds of meaning and fulfillment. That means that any employee is just performing a job because they will draw salary and they can satisfy their materialistic needs for their own satisfaction. So, the work simply means to a financial end that allows people to enjoy their time away from work. The other perspective is career orientation. This orientation focuses on the rewards that accompany advancement through organizational or occupational structure, increased pay, prestige, status that come with promotion and recognition, advancement. Their only focus is that if I am getting promotion, I will get hike in my salary, I will be awarded for my performance. So, if I am working hard and I have attained an objective, then I can receive some monetary benefit. So, for them their only orientation is that how to advance their career, not advancing themselves at the psychological level. But once calling perspective has been identified by an individual employee, then they do not work for financial rewards or advancement for the fulfillment that doing the work brings. It is a belief that work contributes to the greater good and makes the world a better place. So, these three perspectives, people view work as a job, career orientation and calling orientations are the three perspectives that have been offered by Bella, that how individuals perceive their jobs as meaningful in terms of three aspects, right. Next comes organizational practices that foster meaning in work. Now, we have talked about different perspectives, career orientation, calling orientations, that people view work as a job. But how to identify jobs to be more meaningful? For that, organizations have to take an initiative to foster certain practices, policies where an ignition start is there to encourage employees to view their jobs with a different perspective. Now, here the different perspective is that the job that is being offered is something which is beyond what they think. Beyond what they think is the psychological orientation must get activated, that the perception should grow beyond organizational outcomes. So, organizational practices that foster meaning in work include certain practices that actually fosters meaning in work. It can be in terms of job redesign. This may allow members to fully engage who they are and what they want to do by increasing the variety of skills used on the job. Now, just giving handful of training to employee to perform a particular job is not enough. Practices should be offered in a way that not only interest and not only honing of skills has been encouraged, but at the same time perception to perform a job should also be changed at the same time, that what you will get out of performing this job. For example, encouraging any employees to hone or advance their skills to perform a particular task, it should not only be leading to advancement of their career, it should be that how they will contribute to the organization and to the society, that doing an identifiable piece of work will not only give them recognition, but how they will contribute to the society at large or to oneself. That should be the designing of job in a particular way. So, that means even when we are giving some autonomy to any employee to take a particular decision, then that decision making should be perceived, decision making ability of an employee should be perceived in a way that he or she has taken a decision for the benefit of the workers and not only for the benefit for getting maximum organizational outcomes. So, this is job redesign. This includes that to what extent a member has the opportunity to complete a whole and identified piece of work and providing autonomy over what to do and when, and offering feedback to facilitate learning. The other is employee involvement. This involves practices that effectively empower individuals by sharing information, developing knowledge, rewarding skill acquisition and so forth. That means, this refers actually that any employee who is acquiring better or advanced skills to perform a job, then that acquisition way the skill has been acquired by the employee should be recognized by the higher authorities or the system that has actually contributed to the organization in immediate manner and to the society. For example, any corporate social responsibility decision. So, how any employee who has taken an initiative to indulge in CSR practices and at the same time developing some new skill such as corporate social responsibility or CSR activities, then ultimately it is contributing to the society itself. So, organization need employees to motivate to involve themselves in such kind of practices. This is actually employee involvement, that is beyond your job. So, we can say that when job redesign and employee involvement are being combined together, then the outcome is beyond organizational outcome in terms of flow experiences. The more you are psychologically connected to the organization, then you are experiencing flow, where you are completely merged with your job, you are psychologically connected to that job and you are working with the organization or with that job or with that task in a very symbiotic manner. There is lot of congruence in performance, job and task. So, it may foster flow experiences that dissolve barriers between self and work and allow individuals the full expression of what is best in us. So, pushing your boundaries beyond your capacities just to benefit employees and the organization actually brings or falls in a state of flow, where it is only the person as an individual and the job that he or she is performing. So, this is a state of flow. It is a psychological state, it is an experience. It can only be experienced, it can be only felt when lot of emotions have been put in performing the job and bringing it to the fullest. The other is path goal leadership, that means suggesting and clarifying ways how to remove the obstacles from the performance of the employees and to what extent the employees are able to perform that job while getting deep into that task. When more detailing is being done, that how the job has to perform and what will be the outcome, how it is going to benefit each and every individual in the organization, then it becomes a way to adopt a positive leadership style, so that positive outcomes should be emulated from that task. So, this is path goal leadership. This clarifies links between effort and performance and removing obstacles to performance. The other is nurture callings. It has two aspects, nurture and calling. So, nurture is it is seen as involvement in socially valuable activities that may be pleasurable. Now, so socially valuable activities here means that involving with employees as human beings, serving or offering more services out of the way, so that the involvement in performing the task becomes more emotional rather than just an attribution that you are an employee and I am doing it. It should be like I am doing a job and I am doing a job with you, then ultimately there is sense of reciprocation. So, employees tend to nurture each other. So, it is socially valuable activity. The other is callings. This have been associated with expressing one's authentic self, and this involves role and identity. Now, here the more the person identifies himself or herself with the work, the more you are related to yourself, the more the schema, that means the plan, the imagination you have for yourself, that what I want to be at work, the more you are close to your job and to yourself, the more authentic self is exhibited at work, which is very much reflected in an individual's work or job that has been performed. So, this is the calling. So, nurture calling is something goes hand in hand. When any employee is helping the other co-worker, then you are actually nurturing at social level, because work relationships also get enhanced, and at the same time the more you are connected to the job yourself, your identity is connected to the job and they are related to each other in a positive manner, then again that involves role and identity, that gives some psychological support to oneself, that this is what I am and this is what I am doing. So, these are certain organizational practices that foster meaning in work. The other is providing psychological safety. This involves feeling able to show employee one's self without fear of negative consequences. The more you are close to your job, the more you get psychological support, because you are connected to the job and there is less fear of the consequences. There is lot of confidence that I can do a particular job. I am confident about this job and I do not fear the consequences, because there is more hold on the task that you are performing. So, it is not only that there is no fear, but at the same time it also promotes positive emotions, which in turn broadens one's modes of thought and action, and thereby build personal and social resources. So, here personal and social resources means that you are more able to communicate properly your aim, your outcome and your resources. Thus, psychological safety enables individuals to engage in creative individualism, that is to engage in trial and error to find a personal connection and to learn and unlearn new behaviors. So, here in creative individualism means that once you are connected to the job psychologically, then handling the job, coming out of all the fears, all your inhibitions, it generates not only confidence, but actually a creative individual, where there is more personal connection with the job and how to perform that job by learning new patterns of behavior, skills and unlearning. That means leaving all those aspects of behavior which are not contributing to an individual and to the organization itself. So, this is like providing psychological safety, and the other is enacting with integrity. Now, this is an organizational function, that how and to what extent the organization and the employees are working with integrity, and how employees are perceiving that integrity, that they also learn the same kind of integrated behavior and respond in the similar way. So, this exists when members perceive congruence between leaders' words and deeds, that is behavioral integrity or actions, and enacting with integrity builds trust in the system and among individuals. That is, the more you perceive the system to be trustworthy and integrity is there, the more employees tend to develop trust for the leaders and they also perform the same kind of behavior and they are in congruence, that means leader and the followers are in congruence with each other. So, this is an act of individuals as intuitive auditors, that is they are vigilant for and sensitive to the signs of insincerity and duplicity. This refers to what leaders and higher authorities are throwing at the employees and the followers, and how they are intuitively auditing the behavior of the whole system and then imbibing the same. Once they receive that kind of audit, that it is integrated, it is honest, it is trustworthy, then employees actually perceive their job to be meaningful. It is actually completely a psychological phenomena in a way that we are at a job, when we see that the whole system is integrated, it is connected to each other, then immediately we imbibe the same feeling, positive feeling, and we also adapt to that kind of integrity. But if it is not there, then it creates a dilemma within an employee, how to find that balance, how to be in congruence with leaders and the higher authorities. So, this is enacting with integrity. So, this is an organizational practice based on behaviors that what higher authorities are performing or throwing at the employees, and how they audit those behaviors and help them to find meaning in their work, right. This is about meaning in work, that how OB professionals have defined these terms from a different perspective, and to what extent employees have the ability to perceive their job as significant, as contributing to the society or to the larger world, how they perceive their job in terms of personal development or personal growth, and how certain factors such as work centrality, work commitment, involvement and intrinsic motivations as organizational factors fosters meaning in work. When these levels are satisfied, then it actually moves beyond organizational factors. So, this is about another aspect of positive organizational scholarship as meaning and work. I will continue this lecture in the next part. Thank you so much.